Welcome in, everyone. Ready to dive deep. Today we're tackling Colleen Hoover's Verity. We've got the excerpts right here, and let me tell you, this book, it gets intense.
Hoover doesn't hold back, does she? I mean, talk about starting with a bang, a hit and run right there on page one.
Yeah, it's a pretty gripping opening. Lowen, our main character, she witnesses this whole thing, and it's almost like she's strangely calm about it, don't you think?
Almost like she's seen too much, like that line about knowing the guy wouldn't survive. Chilling. Hoover, she knows how to set a mood.
And then out of all the people in Manhattan, who did she bump into? Jeremy.
Talk about a meet cute with a side of tragic backstory.
Seriously, though, his wife, Verity, she's a famous author, but she's been in a terrible accident.
Yeah. And their daughter just died recently, too. I mean, talk about piling on the heartbreak. You're just on edge from that moment on.
Like, bam, Hoover throws you right into this whirlwind of emotions. And then...
The meeting.
The meeting, right. Like,
Yeah.
out of all the coincidences.
Fate, maybe. Or just Hoover messing with us readers. Either way, it's at this meeting that Lowen gets this offer, this chance to finish Verity's book series.
Like about a moral dilemma, right? I mean, on the one hand, it's a huge opportunity for Lowen. She's a struggling writer. But on the other hand...
You're basically profiting from someone else's tragedy.
Exactly. So what would you do? Could you separate the art from the situation?
It's the question Hoover wants us to grapple with, and Lowen, she dives right in. And that's when we get to the Crawford house, which, let's be honest, is a whole vibe.
Creepy vibes, right? I mean, isolated, enormous, and then there's Crew, their son.
Something about the way Hoover describes him, just this unsettling intensity. You know something's not quite right.
And then the manuscript. That's when the real story kicks off, right?
Oh, yeah. That autobiography. Lowen stumbles upon it, and let me tell you, Verity, not the person you think she is from her novels.
It's like looking into someone's darkest thoughts, the stuff they'd never say out loud.
And it makes you wonder, how well can we ever really know another person, even those closest to us?
Right, because in her writing, Verity is, well, different. Talk about an understatement. It makes you question everything about her, about Jeremy, about that accident.
Did it even happen the way we were led to believe? Hoover, she's got us right where she wants us, hooked and questioning every single thing.
I mean, Verity really spills it all in that manuscript, huh? Like every secret, every messed up thought.
No kidding. It's heavy stuff. The way she talks about her marriage, motherhood. Hoover really makes you confront the ugly parts of humanity, the idea that someone can be both deeply flawed, unandoved.
And the way she writes about her kids, it's chilling, right? Almost like she doesn't even care about them. It makes you wonder if anyone can ever truly know someone, even their own husband, like in Jeremy's case.
You hit the nail on the head there, that fear that the person next to you is a complete stranger. And Jeremy, poor guy, he's drowning in grief already, lost his daughter, his wife's basically a ghost, and now this manuscript pops up, painting her in a whole new light.
Talk about a gut punch. No wonder he's questioning everything. And in the middle of all this, Lowen starts falling for him. It's a recipe for disaster.
Oh, Hoover lives for that kind of tangled web, the messy human stuff. Lowen's caught in this pressure cooker, the writing gig, the bombshells from the manuscript, and now her feelings for Jeremy. You just know it's going to explode.
And just when you think it can't get more intense, bam, we find out about Verity's accident, that her daughter, Chasten, was in the car and didn't make it.
Changes everything, right? Adds a whole other layer of tragedy, of suspicion. Was it really an accident or something more intentional? Hoover, she's got us playing detective now, second-guessing everything.
And then there's the sleepwalking. Lowen creeping around the house at night. Freaky, right?
Symbolic, too, don't you think? It's like her subconscious is trying to unearth the truth, even if she's not ready to face it consciously.
And the tension, it just builds and builds. You've got Lowen and Jeremy getting closer and closer. Their chemistry's off the charts. But then there's this looming darkness. Verity's secrets just hanging in the air.
And those secrets, they get even darker with the truth about Harper's death. Remember, Verity claimed it was an accident, but the manuscript tells a different story, something way more sinister.
That's the turning point, I think. You can't read that and not see Verity as a monster. Or can you? That's the thing with Hoover. She makes you doubt your own judgment.
Exactly. It'd be easy to slap a bad guy label on Verity, but she makes us see the nuances. What if there's more? What if that whole account is just another manipulation?
And just when your brain's about to explode trying to figure it out, Hoover hits us with the mother lode of twists, Verity. She's not incapacitated at all. The whole time she's been playing every one.
I swear, I almost dropped the book when I got to that part. It's like a punch to the gut. 1 minute you're relieved, thinking, okay, maybe she wasn't responsible for all the awful stuff. And then bam, she's a mastermind behind it all.
I know, right? You're like, wait, she's been faking it this whole time. It's messed up. And then she confesses, basically admits to everything. But the way Hoover writes it, it's like Verity's playing one last twisted game.
Yeah, she claims she wrote that whole manuscript to make Jeremy hate her, to make him want to kill her. Like as
Yeah.
some kind of messed up suicide by proxy, guilt maybe,
Right.
wanting to escape what she'd done.
And you can almost see it happening, right? Jeremy's rage is just pouring off the page, this feeling of betrayal. He loved her, trusted her, and now this. It's devastating.
Hoover's really good at making you feel both sides, you know. You get Jeremy's pain, his anger, but at the same time, you see Verity's desperation. It's like nobody wins in that situation.
It's Lowen who brings him back down to earth, reminds him about crew, about having a future. She becomes this kind of protector for both of them, which is interesting to
It
see.
shows how much she's grown.
Yeah.
Despite all the crazy stuff she's uncovered, the doubts she's had, she chooses hope. And then Verity dies.
Just like that. After all the intensity, all the buildup, it's almost anticlimactic. But I don't know, I felt this weird mix of relief and sadness when it happened.
It's bittersweet, right? The manipulation's over. Jeremy and crew can finally breathe. But you're still left wondering about Verity. Was she ever truly happy? Did she find any peace at the end?
And of course, just when you think it's over, Hoover throws in one last curveball, the letter.
Oh, that letter. Classic Hoover. Lets you get comfortable, think you've got it all figured out, and then bam, mind blown.
Verity's version of events, written before the accident, it's completely different. Suddenly, she's not a monster, just a woman dealing with some really dark thoughts. Harper's death was an accident. She loved her kids, the whole 9 yards.
Talk about an unreliable narrator, right? You're left trying to figure out who to believe, the Verity who confessed to those horrible things or the Verity who wrote that letter.
It sticks with you, even after you finish the book. Makes you think about truth, about how much we really know about the people in our lives, even ourselves sometimes.
Verity, it's definitely not a light read, but it'll make you think. And that's what good books do, right? They stay with you, make you question things long after you've closed the cover.
Exactly. So what do you think? Which Verity do Why You Believe? Hit us up on social media. Let's keep this conversation going. Until next time, happy reading, everyone.